to
It's okay.
figure it out later. It looks like it might be going now, though. Let me on the air. Let me turn the gain up just a little bit more. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Welcome to episode 4 of Porch Thoughts. Crazy enough, though, we're not on a porch. So this
wild.
is just coffee thoughts, I guess. Coffee shop thoughts. Until they kick us out.
Yeah. We're being on the edge today.
Yes, very much. We're breaking the rules.
Breaking the rules.
Breaking all the rules.
Yeah.
But yeah, welcome to episode 4. And today we got some interesting discussions things to talk about.
I hope they're interesting.
I think they're interesting. I don't know. She said she can talk. I don't have anything noted down for...
I should have written down some stuff, I guess, but I usually feel like I can just come up with things.
Oh, yeah. I say that, and then when it comes to the moment, I'm just like,
Well, if I can get started on a topic, usually I can carry it on.
Well, today we're going to talk about movies, so...
Yes, my favorite thing
All right.
in the whole world.
Tell me something about movies.
Off the top of my head, well, do you want to talk about the movie we saw the other night?
What did you think of the movie? Tell the audience what you thought about
what I thought
Bones and All.
Of Bones and All. I think the first thing I should say is that Timothée Chalamet was really hot in it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's how we should kick it off.
I found out he was in Doom. Or not Doom, Dune.
Yes, he's the lead. I haven't watched that yet, but it's on my list to watch.
I need to watch it too. I heard it's about it. I think it's based on off a book, right?
There's like a whole series of them. But it also has Zendaya in it, so I'm sold.
Oh, I have to see that then. I like Zendaya.
Sold, yeah. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
No, the Bones and All was wild. It was wild. I wanted to see it because, well, the plot line, the idea behind it is so good. I mean, most people would probably say that's nasty, but...
Well, I mean, it is.
It's intriguing to me. I mean, to put something that, like, visceral on screen. I love stuff like that.
Right. It's something to disturb you
yes.
for, like, keep you up for hours.
I was trying to explain it to you on the way over here.
Yeah.
And I've never been able to put it into words, but it's like, there's like an itch in my brain, and there are certain kinds of movies that can scratch it. And it's like, only certain movies can, like, stick there and really, like, keep eating away at me. And that one effectively did that. For all its flaws, it was disjointed, I feel like, at points. Like, some of it didn't quite lead into the next scene. Like, I don't know how to explain it. But
just
besides
didn't
that...
make sense.
What?
Just didn't make sense.
Just didn't make sense, yeah. But besides that, I mean, there was such a rawness about the whole movie, and it was so visceral and so brutal, but it visually, like, the way it was shot was so beautiful, and so you have this, like, you feel like what you're seeing on screen shouldn't look as good as it does,
right? Because
it's nasty and it's terrible, but it's so gorgeous. Every single frame, even the frames that are, like, filled with blood and gore and people eating each other, it's just so pretty, and it's like this, your mind's kind of not sure what to feel about it. And I love stuff
Explain
like that.
Explain to them what it's about.
So
don't spoil it, but like explain what it's about.
It's this girl. She has this urge to eat human meat, and she doesn't know why. She's been like that since little. I think her dad said she was like 3, right?
Yeah, like 3 or something.
She doesn't know why. She thinks she's the only one, but she goes on this road trip to kind of find herself. And she meets other people that are like her. She didn't know there were so many. But everyone has different morals. They all eat people, but some of them feel like they have a higher moral compass than others.
Right.
And so it's just, she falls in love with this boy that she meets along the way. And they go on this journey. It's a romance, I guess, at its core, which is weird to say, but it's a very brutal romance with an ending that I was literally like
shaking,
trembling, which is great. I love it when movies have like a physical effect on you.
Yeah.
And it's just I seek out movies like that, and there's not many out there, because it's not really horror that does that for me. I mean, I love horror movies, but like there's like a higher certain kind of filmmaking that's because that didn't feel like watching a horror movie. And I love movies that are just so terrifying, but they're not horror. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love films like that, and it was
Definitely your speed.
my speed for sure. It was. There were a few things in there that I think I could have lived without seeing.
Yeah. Oh,
But-
yeah, same.
But I liked it a lot. It fit the vibe of what I look for in a movie, and I think more movies like that need to be made.
Right.
But I'm sure that's pretty controversial because it's not like a good movie. You know what I mean? Like
It's not happy at all.
it's not pleasant. It's not enjoyable to watch.
Right.
But like I don't know. I don't think a movie has to be enjoyable to be good. Does that
I
make
get
sense?
you. Yeah.
Yeah, like a movie, to me at least, movies aren't just about making you feel good. Like,
It's about art.
right, it's living something that you don't actually want to live in real life, you know?
Yeah.
But you get to experience like this intense feeling and emotion, and if it sticks with you that long and leaves you like,
Shook.
you know, I get a high off of that. It's like an adrenaline rush. It's an addiction, and I keep looking for movies like that.
Almost sounds a little concerning, but I'm just
I don't know how
playing
to
with
explain it, but it's a thing.
you. Yeah, no, I get you.
And that's, like I was saying, movies like that are made because there are people out there that look for, you know, stuff like that without actually having to experience it themselves.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you experience it yourself, I mean, likely it's like, so what kind of life are you living and why?
right.
I don't know.
And that's, you tell your thoughts though if you want to. I don't want to run the whole thing.
Man, I don't like romance movies like that. But this was kind of different.
Yeah.
It had like a twist to it. I know there's a lot of messed up romance novels and books and movies and vampires and just stuff that's cheesy.
Yeah.
And it's just a trope that you get everywhere. But this one kind of hit different. I mean, it's very. It kind of. I didn't know how to feel about it after I watched it, because you're not really supposed to feel bad for the people in the story because they're all cannibals and terrible people. But like they kind of humanize them and make them feel like you want to. You want to feel bad for them.
You root for them a little bit.
You root for them just a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is where the brainwashing comes in. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the one thing I don't like about movies like that, because I had that experience with the Joker movie.
Right.
It was really good, but you almost root for
Right.
you almost root for him
Right.
the way they did it, because make him seem like he's the underdog of the city,
Yeah.
the dirt underneath everyone's shoes, and by the end of it he becomes a psycho and kills the guy on TV. Spoilers to those who haven't watched the Joker movie. But yeah, it was like one of those type of movies where it just kind of pulls one on you, and you're just like, okay, well, I don't know how to feel now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But-
I can imagine.
Yeah, but I think overall, though, the movie was really good. Not saying I would own it on DVD, because who watches DVD anymore, right?
I want to own it on DVD.
You want it on DVD?
I want to watch it again. I need to process it. I think I need to.
Yeah.
But
My girlfriend, she watched it with us as well. I think last Tuesday, or Tuesday. That
Yeah,
just
like 2
happened
days
this
ago.
week. 2 days ago, yeah.
Yeah.
And she liked it. She really liked it. But I'm gonna have to ask her again how she felt about it, because her opinion changes about movies all the
sometimes
time.
after you process a movie, I guess it changes. But
Yeah,
usually I can tell pretty good how I'm gonna feel about it.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But are you ready for it to come out on DVD and streaming platforms?
I am. I'll have to probably wait a little while before I watch it again, just because it's like so much.
Yeah.
But I would like to see it again and just kind of pick it apart. You know.
Are you ready for it to be on streaming platforms?
No.
I'm just trying to segue into talking about
About streaming things.
streaming and HBO and Netflix and Hulu.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about streaming.
Scamdemic.
platforms. Yeah.
I'm ready to get canceled after saying that.
I have a lot of thoughts about streaming platforms.
Yeah.
what are your thoughts? What is it that you want to segue into about all the streaming stuff? Because I'm sure you have opinions since you're wanting to go there.
It ruins the experience of like seeing things in theaters. I mean,
I agree.
I've seen some really good movies in theaters, but then to find out that HBO already has it streaming, it's like, what was even the point of having it in theaters?
I agree.
It's like you pay either way out of it. So, what is your? I got more opinions, more things to say about it, but I'm trying to collect it right now. So, what is your? How do you feel about streaming movies and the disaster?
I don't have a problem with streaming services just at their root, like for what they are, because I mean a lot of my favorite things are streaming, and I appreciate them being available to people. But I think putting them on streaming services at the same time as putting them in movies is not the best plan, because it takes money away from movies.
Yeah.
And there's a reason. I mean, I know over the pandemic movie theaters struggled because they weren't open. There weren't people able to get out and see them. But now they are. They're back in full swing, but there's still less people than there were before the pandemic. Because just over the pandemic, this became, movie streaming on streaming services at the same time became huge over the pandemic for that reason.
Yeah.
But now that people can go to the movies, they're still not, because it's more convenient to see it at home.
Right.
It's just a lack of appreciation for the movie theater experience, which is fine. Not everyone has to enjoy it the way that I do.
Right.
But I think you should at least, if you don't care to see it in theaters, chances are you don't care to wait till it comes out to streaming later. So I don't know what the big rush is to have it on the streaming service right away when it's going to take money away from the movie theaters. And there's less, movies going to the movie theaters that aren't big blockbusters like Marvel or the Jurassic series or, DC, because they're finding a home on streaming services first,
right?
Which isn't a bad thing. I mean, that's a good way for like indie movies to get up off the ground.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
a lot of indie movies don't go to theaters anyways.
Yeah.
But that's just part of the struggle of movie theaters right now, is that they can only really afford to show movies that they know are going to be blockbusters, because it's scary right now. The financial state of movie theaters is scary, so they're scared to show kind of smaller budget films like they used to.
Right.
So it's kind of a mixed bag, because streaming services do help a lot of people, but at the same time they're damaging movie theaters. And so I don't have a problem. I have streaming services. I think they're great, but I think showing them on those two different platforms at the same time, it's not the best idea, because I want movie theaters to stay open, and Regal going bankrupt recently is scary to me. So I don't want to be alive to see the day when movie theaters finally go bankrupt. I want them to still be around as long as I'm alive.
Right. It's almost like online shopping versus going to the mall. The mall is an experience. Yeah, sure, some malls are more dangerous than others, and it's, just dangerous to go out in public in general.
Right.
Driving's dangerous, people are dangerous.
Everything's dangerous.
Everything's dangerous. Even online shopping can be dangerous. People can dox you from online. However, they claim, most online sites like Amazon, they're trusted sites.
Right.
So you could just stay home, order your gift.
Right.
May not come in on time, which is you have that problem, but I think it's better to go to the mall, find out that thing is not there, than going online, purchasing it and not getting it till after Christmas when I'm trying to give this to this person. But I think a lot of things are kind of turning electronic now.
I agree.
And it kind of kills my childhood, and I hate it.
It's the same with books. I mean, books, it's so much easier to get them like digitally, and I don't like reading digital.
Yeah,
it hurts my eyes. And I like having the.
What do you think of like
copy, but
audiobooks?
I think audiobooks are great.
Okay.
I don't listen to them just because I focus better if I'm actually reading it. But like I know a lot of people, it's convenient to listen to an audiobook.
Yeah.
So like if that's a good way to like, if you get more books in your head that way, then I say go for it.
For sure, yeah. I'm a big audiobook junkie right now. I have one credit. I'm trying to look for an audiobook to listen to on Audible. So I'm just like, I have a lot of books on there. I'm not a big like sit down and read unless.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. If you're busy and you can put in earbuds and listen to an audiobook, then go for it.
And I think I think they did very well with books and transferring from having to sit down and read and than listening to them online.
Right.
I think it's way better than. I think it was done correctly. With,
right, because used to, with, you still had to get physical audiobooks like on CD.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to have those on your phone and put in earbuds and listen to it.
Yeah, and you could just walk down the street and it just be a vibe. I've worked out and had an audiobook playing. I've went down here, came here to Nexus, and was doing my homework on my first semester, and I put in my earbuds and listened to a book, and it's great.
I think that's great.
And I had coffee too, so and a cinnamon roll. I remember that time specifically, just being here.
Right.
And I think that's a lot of things with a lot of people who have their first experience coming here is like something was going on and they just went here. I saw my friend from the last episode, Keenan. He came here to Nexus and he was stressed and had like a lot of problems going through college and just trying to get all this stuff done. So he would come here and he would just vibe out a little bit, do his homework and relax, but also get things done at the same time.
Right.
So I think that's like the experience for this place.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of jumping off track of.
No, it's fun.
But yeah, audiobooks.
All these are good topics that I like to talk about. So.
For sure. But yeah, audiobooks are great. So what kind of books do you have? What books pique your interest? What do you have? Let's dive into this. I know you're a big bookworm
I am
since the day I've ever
bookworm.
met you. So.
I am. Well, at this, what I'm reading right now, I'm reading the Maze Runner series for the second time.
Again?
I haven't read those, I've only read them once. I haven't read them since I was 13, 14, and a new one just came out. So I'm rereading all those to refresh my memory. Since horror is my favorite movie genre, I would like to read a lot more horror books, but I can't. It's hard to find ones to me that are really just that scary.
Right.
Usually I think books are better than movies, but I think with horror it helps to have the visuals.
Right.
Plus a lot of horror books are really filthy. It's hard to find ones that aren't chock full of nasty stuff.
Vulgar stuff.
I read a lot. Mostly, I read a lot of sci-fi and fantasy. I love dystopians.
Oh yeah.
I could spend hours. The Hunger Games was probably my first big dive into that genre, and I devoured all 3 of those books in 3 days. The first time I read them, and they're still probably my favorite book series of all time. That hasn't changed since I was 13, and I've read a lot more mature dystopians since then. But those kind of cemented my love for it's easy to complain about the world being bleak right now, but then for some reason I just thrive off of reading books where the future is even bleaker, because it's intriguing to me.
Right.
It's escapism, but it's I know for a lot of people escapism is something pleasant, but I really enjoy getting caught up in something that makes my brain work.
Yeah.
And kind of makes me feel on edge. And dystopians do that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like dystopian stuff as well. I mean, I think the biggest I don't know if Evangelion is dystopian. It's like end of the world.
It sounds dystopian.
What would you call dystopian? After the end of the world or during the end of the world?
I don't know. A lot of dystopians take place in a society that has kind of fallen off the rails. The world is kind of in a state of devastation. Yeah. And so.
Okay. I'd say
whether it's an organized society or not, there's usually a group that's trying to pick up the pieces, but it doesn't go very well.
I would describe Evangelion as a dystopian sci-fi drama. Drama. Very much drama.
I mean, hey.
It's it's not a movie. Well, there are movies of it. I hate all of them.
Is it a manga or just an anime? Is it based off of manga? Okay, I figured. Usually they're based off of manga. But
I think it might have been an anime first. I'll have to
really?
research it later. If anyone wants to comment down in the YouTubes or say something in Spotify or just text me later, let me know. But I think there was a manga before it, and the mangas are more lost and have a whole other plot line that I've never. Yeah, it's what?
They kind of branched off from each other.
Yeah, and there's other characters you haven't seen before, but it was also that way with one of the movies they had. So they had 3 or 4 movies, It rebooted what the TV show did. It's the same thing, but there's like added scenes from like a new character who has like their own Ava, which is like their big mechs that they control.
Yeah.
So they have like different characters, and then they have in fact, I think they even put the end of Evangelion in one of the movies, like what happens, the third impact. The third impact happens, but it doesn't leave the main character in a state of madness like it did in the last movie. The first one.
Sounds tragic.
Yeah. But it kind of goes after, and it's just like all the characters who died in the original movie, End of Evangelion, they're not dead. They're just in a whole nother place. And so, like, they have to go fight, I think it was the main character's dad, who's like a bad guy. And he's one of those characters that died in the movies, in the first movie as well, but I don't know how to explain everything to him, but just it kind of reboots everything. Yeah. I'll just say that. Things are different, and it's a whole nother ending to it. And I don't want to say it's a better ending, but it's like it's not an ending where I felt like someone spat in my face and said, go home, kick rocks. You know, it's different.
I'll have to check that out someday.
Right.
Yeah.
I would suggest it. I mean, I would definitely look into like some of the stuff that's in the movie.
I will. I always do.
But
I'm not nearly as picky as I used to be, obviously, with what we watched the other night.
I'm shocked too.
I know. I debated about it. There were a couple of times where I was like, maybe I shouldn't see this movie, but it was worth it. I know. I was worried about it.
You've changed so much.
Yeah, I know. I've become depraved. Completely depraved.
I guess. I don't know. But yeah. That's the whole series that's just like, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I like stuff like that. I'll have to look into that for sure.
Do it.
Since you've talked about it so much, too.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I trust your judgment.
What are some movies you would suggest to the audience? The movies, shows, books. Go through a list in that order. Movie shows, and books.
Well, I have a lot of movies I could recommend, but I'm not going to go down like the long list of every single movie that and I have a tough time recommending movies because everyone's different on what they're willing to, view. Yeah. And I'm always like, just because I watch a movie doesn't mean that everyone should watch that movie, because I don't, because people who know me really well, I don't want them to think, well, it's Emily. If she watches it, it's chill. Because it's not. Because
I could watch Pulp Fiction and then tell you to watch it, and then you'll be like, oh, Brandon, you.
Just because, and it's, I take a movie in and I watch it. Doesn't mean I approve of everything that happens in it,
Right.
It doesn't mean that I condone what's being said or done on screen. So I'm always wary of recommending movies, and that's why I always try to warn people of exactly what's in them before I say, go watch it.
Right.
But obviously, I do recommend Bones and All if you have the stomach for it. And despite its flaws, it's a solid film.
Pretty solid.
I would say probably some of the most perfect. I'll just say maybe some of, because there are a few films that I've seen that I would say are absolutely flawless, and I don't say that lightly because I've watched a lot of movies. Mm-hmm. Like my favorite movies are The Hunger Games, just like my favorite books are The Hunger Games, and I will say that they are very flawed, very flawed movies, far from perfect. Yeah. But some movies that I would say are pretty dang close to flawless. I don't know if you've ever heard of Take Shelter.
Sounds familiar.
It's went through like film festivals, like the biggest invite-only film festivals.
Really?
The writer-director Jeff Nichols, I think was his name. Mm-hmm. Self-made. His first ever film he did, full length. He made the whole thing on a budget of I think $200,000.
Ooh.
A whole full-length movie. Usually people, they start with short films, kind of build their way up. First thing he ever did, full length, $200,000.
Small loan of $1 million.
His second movie was Take Shelter, and it went to the largest film festivals in the world. So he, obviously natural talent there. Take Shelter is about a man who has these dreams and these hallucinations about this big apocalyptic storm. I don't know if apocalyptic storm coming, but he doesn't know if they're real or not. No one else is seeing it. He has a family history of schizophrenia. Like his mother was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. So he has this fear of, is that's what's, happening to me. And it, causes problems with his family and with the people around him. And I won't say any more than that, because the ending is jaw-dropping.
Really?
I mean, literal goosebumps. I've seen it twice. Both times. I mean, it's probably about as perfect as a movie can get. And
Right.
it'll forever be my standard, like, for filmmaking. It's so good. It's so good. I highly recommend Take Shelter by Jeff Nichols. It has Jessica Chastain in it.
Really?
And Michael Shannon, so it's got a good cast.
That's good.
But I recommend that one. One of my favorites of all time ever. So good.
Right.
It was I was Googling movies and it popped up, so it was like a random Google movie.
Right.
But so good.
Sounds pretty good. I'll have to
I would
see it.
definitely recommend checking it out. I love it. It's like a slow burn kind of thriller type deal. It's
Yeah.
excellent.
And while I'm sitting here too, they're playing the Santa Claus movie in the behind you. I'm just like, hoping they don't like. I hope my mic doesn't pick up on it and I get like some copyright
I don't know.
because you got the two big speakers over there. I don't know. Well, it don't matter. If I just cut that part out, they'll be like, oh, don't point it out. But I think I really like movies like that.
Yeah.
Where it gives you like an ending that's kind of jaw-dropping.
It is. And I think
Hereditary was one of those movies.
Oh, really? Yeah, I need to watch Hereditary at some point. I've heard bits about it, but
Yeah.
I know that's one you've recommended a lot.
Yeah, it's really good. A24.
Oh, yeah.
It's A24, right?
It is A24.
All
They're,
right. I was about to
one
say
of-
A1, but that's a sauce for steak.
yeah, A24, all their movies are really unique. They're like high-level horror. I don't know how else to explain them. They're like bougie horror.
Bougie horror.
Bougie horror. I don't know how else to put
like-
it. Art house, for sure.
Yeah, it's. I like that company. They do a lot of good stuff.
And it's
I heard-
like they help a lot of indie filmmakers because all their movies are from indie filmmakers.
Uh-huh.
They're one of the like biggest indie production companies out there right now.
Really?
So they're doing a lot of good for a lot of people that might not get off the ground otherwise.
That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like companies like that help
Mm-hmm.
other smaller companies build up their place in
Yeah.
movie making and filmmaking. Speaking of filmmaking, I know you've talked to me about wanting to do
Yes.
filmmaking. Did I have any influence from when I used to record videos and like shoot people with Nerf guns?
Yeah. That's the whole reason I want to be a filmmaker.
I'm about to stop.
Is because of your Nerf gun videos.
We don't talk about that, even though I brought it up.
Yeah, this has been within the past year.
Yeah.
I've the thought kind of made its way into my brain, and I was kind of like, filmmaking, that's not gonna happen. Who does that, Because, for such a long time, I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Yeah.
Since I was like 4, since I could say the word, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
That derailed for reasons that I won't, get into here. It was a long thing. But, so for a while I was like, what am I gonna do, Kind of like, get a part-time job, see what happens, I guess. I don't know. But that was the only thing I was really like passionate about. And then, films have become a big thing for me. I've always loved movies, but just within the past, maybe 3-4 years, I've become so obsessed with films and filmmaking and the art behind it. I just think it's the most impressive way to tell a story and the way that they can like affect you. As I talked about earlier, the way films can get into my brain, I think that's awesome. And so it kind of started as like a small idea, and it kind of then I developed a very specific idea for a movie in my head. And I was like, I'll just write it as a book. Anyone can write a book, get a book published. I always said I would write a book since I was a kid. But it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work as a book the way I was thinking about it.
Right.
And so that specific idea is what catapulted me into thinking I want to do that, It took coming up with a very specific thing for me to say, I want to make this happen. Like, I'm never gonna rest until I don't think I'm gonna be able to relax until I like get this out into the world.
Right.
And I want to make movies that affect me the way I was talking about earlier. Like, there's not enough movies out there that, at least to me, have that kind of just raw emotional effect.
Right.
And I want to make something like that. And it may not reach a huge audience, like Bones and All probably doesn't appeal to like a big blockbuster audience.
Oh yeah.
But for the people that are interested in it, it's going to affect them a lot, you know?
Right.
Like, it may be a smaller audience, but it's going to mean so much more to that smaller audience than it's going to mean to, you know, the general public. Mm-hmm. And I want to make stuff like that, you know?
For sure.
I want to put stuff like that in the world. And like I was saying, that Take Shelter movie, saying it would be the standard, you know, movies like that I can watch and learn from and admire and be like, this is the kind of energy and like vibe that I want to put in the film, you know. So yeah, I'm pursuing that. I've actually started working on scripts. I downloaded a software for it.
Nice.
And I have no idea what I'm doing.
Do you use that old computer that I...
Yup, it's all on your laptop.
Wow, I didn't even know that old laptop could even do that.
Yeah, it's...
That's great, though.
Yeah.
That you figured out my laptop, too.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but, you know, you learn by doing it.
Yeah.
I want to go to film school to learn how to direct, because I want to be a writer-director.
Right.
And you can't teach yourself to direct like you can't teach yourself to write.
Yeah.
But baby steps.
Baby steps.
Someday, you know, who knows? Maybe you'll see a poster for one of my movies at the movie theater someday.
Hey, you have to shout out my my podcast, you know?
Exactly, I'll say that.
To.
My debut was...
This is your debut. This is how you get popular. This is how you get famous.
Exactly, on the Porch Thoughts.
I'm also, and my friend Keenan, or the last guest, Keenan, he has his own podcast as well called Millennial Versus. And I was like one of the first podcasts that he went on that he featured on that wasn't anyone else's.
Yeah.
That was on his podcast. So I thought that was really cool. So
that is neat.
I'm hoping this is like the ground to have some people get skyrocket.
That would be really neat to say that you like, you know, had people on here and it helped them
get
move forward and what they wanted
and
to do.
They do have they are a pretty big podcast. They have a lot of different sponsorships and stuff. I don't know if I can get into it because that's their company business. Right. I think.
Right.
But you know they have a lot of good stuff going for them. So. And I'm hoping maybe this would be a good like skyrocket for other people as well.
That'll be really
I don't care
cool.
if I get a lot of views or get popular or anything. I just do this because it's fun and it's just a little hobby to do.
Right.
It's good conversations that I get to have with people that no one else knows.
Right.
So it's like
it's fun to just talk and share your opinions through something like this.
For sure. And also my second episode, my buddy Tommy, he wants to be an author. Like he's like really dedicated. He's really good at writing stuff and writing out story plots for characters.
Yeah.
Like literally, if you met him, he would talk your head off about like characters that you would think is in a TV show, but it's all in his head.
I would love that. That's how it starts usually is with characters.
Yeah, and maybe I can get both of y'all on an episode one day. Come over here, maybe use the room down there.
Yeah.
I'll just have to figure out how that works. But
that would be really neat.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd like to. It starts with characters usually. Mm-hmm. It's you come up, at least for me usually, a person pops into your head and then it kind of builds around that person.
Yeah.
You know? So
definitely.
Or a location. You know, it's usually one object.
Right.
Person, location, something like that, and then the world just kind of builds around it.
Sounds about right.
Gotta start somewhere.
Got it.
Yeah.
And like I said, I have my own career and everything set and ground. I'm still in this baby steps of doing that, so this is not something that I'm like, this is do or die.
And it's something that you enjoy doing.
Right.
And that's, you know, important.
It kind of helps me build connections with people, you know, and people I haven't seen in a while, things like that. So.
Yeah, exactly. And there's, you know, everyone has more than one thing that they're really passionate about and that they could be happy doing.
Yeah.
Like talking about being a veterinarian, you know, that's all I wanted to do.
Right.
But I'm just as excited about, you know, potentially being a filmmaker. Mm-hmm. But I'm still passionate about animals. And so you have, you know, there's only so much time in life.
And I can, I don't know if attest is the word. Is that
I think attest is the
word. I can attest to that.
You can attest.
That is true.
You only have so much time in life. And if you have a whole bunch of things you're passionate about, you kind of got to pick one and run with it.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm going to be happy doing this. And I would have been happy doing one of the other, you know, many things that I'm passionate about. But at the moment, this is my goal and this is what I want. And so I'm going to go for it. But
chase it. Don't stop.
Yeah.
Don't rest. And not even when you get it, don't rest.
In the film industry, it's terrifying.
As soon as you rest, that's when you get lazy. Things start to not go the way you want it to go.
Right.
I'm slowly learning it with my career, which I'm an HVAC service technician.
Yeah.
It's very different. Maybe I should have someone from my job to come here and we can talk about HVAC stuff.
That would be cool.
And everyone will be like, what are y'all talking about?
Yeah.
But maybe when I finally understand everything with my job, I'll have someone come on and I can actually talk about stuff that's actually relatable on that subject. But
it'll be cool.
Nonetheless, still just something that I'm trying to stay passionate about is that.
Right.
It's not easy, but it's also not hard. It's not sitting at a computer, filling out paperwork, and trying to solve a big math equation. Really, it's just put this in there, boom, work.
Right. And it's good to have an active job like that.
Yeah.
Where you're working with your hands and doing stuff.
I was always someone who could work with their hands and just lift heavy stuff. Really. That's who I've always been.
Yeah.
So it's definitely putting that to use.
Yeah. If it's something you enjoy, then go for it.
For sure. But so I'm going to talk about people in general and different types of hobbies and things that people are into.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very cool that everyone's different.
Yeah.
You have your movie things.
I do have my movie things.
You like movies, books, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I like music and gym stuff and whatever.
Yeah.
And other people want to be an author and like books and just storytelling in general. So it's what are some of the hobbies in that particular area? Other hobbies that aren't reading or watching movies and books do you have?
In that area. I mean, well, I've been writing for a really long time. What?
Aerial sounds.
I thought you said.
No, you don't. I'm just.
No, I can talk about that. I thought you meant specifically within that area.
Oh no, just in general.
Well,
I should have been. I don't think I worded it right.
No, it's okay. I can talk about that. I mean, the only other thing in that area, since I'm on it, is I have been writing for a long time. Not scripts, though. Since I was probably 11, I've been writing short stories because my plan was always I'm going to write a bestseller. And who knows? That could still happen. I still love writing. I have a lot of stories up in here. So I've been writing for a really long time. I think I'm decent. I would never say I'm great because I'm my own worst critic. But,
I remember you wrote a poem at a camp.
I did.
And you had me read it, and I was like, "This is great," and you're like, "This is horrible." I was like, "What?"
I'm like that. I was like,
"What are you talking about? I can't even write."
But I appreciate the sentiment though. But since you asked about it, aerial stuff, aerial silks, aerial hoop. Yeah, I do. It's hard to explain. Circus arts. And so they have the most common one I feel like people know about is trapeze. I feel like people can visualize trapeze pretty easily. You see these people swinging by their knees and they yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't do that, but I feel like it's along the same lines. We have that. Not the swinging. Our studio's not big enough for that, but we have it's called static trapeze where it hangs still, and you do all kinds of stuff on it.
Yeah.
Aerial silks is two long pieces of fabric that hang down from the ceiling, and you do all kinds of.
Yeah.
Look it up on YouTube. Look up aerial silks on YouTube. Look up aerial hoop on YouTube. It's really neat. I've been doing it for about 4 years now. I'm on a break because I'm having some knee problems. I'm ready to get back though. I'm going crazy without it.
I'm sure.
But it's a lot of fun, and it's a weird hobby to have. And I found out about it through YouTube. I saw a video on YouTube, and I became, because I was never athletic.
Really?
I did gymnastics for about a year when I was a kid, but it was like little kid gymnastics,
It's like when I played soccer, everyone got a trophy. And really, I'm just running around.
And I just never did any sports, anything. And so I saw a video of someone doing aerial silks on YouTube, and I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. But where in the world, do you do something like that? I don't even know if I could do something like that. I'm not flexible. I'm not strong. So for about a year, I started working on like my strength and my flexibility because I was like, if I ever find a place to do this, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
And I saw a sign. I was like, there you go.
There it is.
About a year later, and so ever since then, it's like, I love it. You know.
Yeah, it seems you've been doing a good job with it and really found something you enjoyed. Because I remember you were someone who was more like not into like a lot of things
No.
at one point. You weren't into movies. You weren't into shows.
No.
You weren't into a lot of stuff. And I'm just like, huh.
Yeah.
Everyone changes, dude.
Had to figure myself out, you know.
You have to. Everyone does. I've figured myself out.
Yeah.
I don't think I have completely, but still am.
It's hard to look back on stuff and be like, you know, my plan for my life was different than what my life is now.
Yeah.
So it's hard to let go of like, you know, what I wanted it to be and be like, well, I have this new passion now. Mm-hmm. It's different, but it's just as good. Yeah. So I just, you know, learning to be like, it's okay that I'm not going down the career path that I always thought I was going to go down. You know, just kind of like adjusting and learning that what I want to do now is just as cool. So,
right.
And having the silks is a confidence booster, man. Like being able to do
high up there and about to fall.
Like you feel, at least for me,
you feel free.
Cool. Yeah, it feels free. It's confidence building to think I'm strong enough to do that, and so it's different than like, you know, sports. But you know, I imagine sports have the same effect on people. It makes them feel confident and like I have the ability to do this. You know, the strength to do this. So.
Yeah, I'm happy for you for sure. That's awesome stuff.
Thank you.
I know for me, I've been like very much into music when I was a kid. You would know I've always like built you playlists on Spotify.
Yeah.
Sent them. Some of them weren't the best, but you know, I've always really liked music. I've never took any like music classes. I was homeschooled. I'm sure I've said that a million times on this podcast, like in general. But,
well, you know, homeschooling is great.
Oh yeah, it was. It is. It's great. It's better. I'd rather have been homeschooled than public school because it would make me into the man that I am today.
Right.
If I can call myself a man, but
you can call yourself a man, bro.
Okay.
You're a man.
Appreciate it. But yeah, it's just very. Music has just been like a big part of my life. My dad would always listen to some song in the car when I was a kid, and I'd be like, "Oh, I remember that from that time," and then so on and so forth. So I remember for a little bit I wanted to like make a little bit of music on what was it? SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Oh, it was terrible.
I mean, I remember it.
I remember even got to.
I remember you telling me about it. I don't think I've ever heard the music, but I feel like I remember you telling me about it.
What was it specifically?
I don't remember.
Because I remember I made some stuff just to like mess with one of my friends.
I don't know if I
remember.
I don't know if you ever showed me. I don't remember. I just remember you talking about it.
May have. I don't know. I've tried at one
sure.
point. I even use this app GarageBand that I'm using right now for this podcast, but just kind of going through that, I've kind of got to a point where I was just like, you know, this is kind of weird, and I don't understand anything, how to use anything, and I can't make my own stuff because I don't have the instruments. So I bought a guitar during the pandemic.
Yeah, you did tell me that.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Oh no, I don't know how to play it still. It's sitting in my room.
You can self-teach.
Everyone says that, and then I try, and I'm just like,
it takes a lot of
I
practice.
don't know.
I mean, lessons help, but
yeah, it does.
You can get yourself
but they're also
started.
expensive.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not really passionate about it. Probably about to sell that guitar, honestly. But when I found out more about podcasting, I started listening to different people's podcasts. A lot of like bigger people like H3H3, YouTubers, stuff like that, who started off on YouTube, but you know, went to podcasting. So when I made that jump, I started wanting to make videos on YouTube because I've watched a lot of YouTube when I was younger, and I was like, I want to make an action movie or whatever.
Yeah.
Cringe. You were in it. You remember it.
I removed
everything.
Debut,
I removed
my
everything.
Film debut. Yeah.
I removed everything. It's gone.
Vivid.
It's gone. It's gone. There's only 2 videos on that channel, and none of it has anything.
It's probably good that it's gone.
It's gone.
It's probably good.
It's just gone. I look back and I cringe. I was young.
But it was fun.
It
I mean,
was.
that's how you get started.
Yeah.
You know? That's how you decide that you enjoy that kind of thing.
But it doesn't change the fact that I got rid of everything. But, so I wanted to do something like that.
We're not live.
20 minutes? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I got some a little time to wrap it up. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it was definitely something I wanted to do was try and make like action movies and stuff. Right? I got in that phase where every kid wants to do YouTube and everything is cringe. You know, I got in that phase. I
baby
hated
steps. That's how you start.
Yeah, but then, you know, I looked more into podcasting, started listening to a lot of other podcasts, and I was doing that for a long time. Different creators had different things, and some people had one running topic, and other people had a podcast where you talk about anything and everything, kind of like this one.
Yeah.
So after probably like a few years, I'd say 4 years of just listening to podcasts in general, I started wanting to do some podcasting.
Yeah.
I thought about it. First, the idea to create Porch Thoughts was during the pandemic. I was like, I really want to make something like that, but I don't know where to start, don't know what to do. And here I am, you know, 2 subscribers, 2 viewers, 50 views on the first episode, 3 on the other.
Hey, I mean...
It's fine. But
you'll get there.
Yeah.
If you keep at it, you'll get there.
Right, and I try to look at it, and I don't let it get to me where it's like, I don't have enough views on here or likes or attention, but it's like, I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it because it's something I just want to do.
Right.
Just because it's just a hobby. It's nothing.
Yeah.
I don't plan to get money from this. I just plan to do it because I have nothing else to do with my time.
I mean, if it's something you enjoy, you know, you don't always need to gain money from it.
Yeah.
I mean, like with Silks.
If I get money from this, it's all going to go towards podcasting.
Right.
But
like with my circus arts,
yeah,
I don't get money from it. I put money into it because I pay for the classes.
Right.
But I just love it, you know. I love it. And like when I used to volunteer at the animal shelter,
right,
y'all always made fun of me because I wasn't getting paid. But it was volunteer work. That was the whole point.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like I should have admired that work ethic.
I'm not actually upset about it.
No, yeah,
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know. I feel that I should have admired more of that work ethic because I didn't really have any built for myself.
I just loved it, you know.
Yeah.
I just thought it was fun and I enjoyed it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you want to do that, do that. I personally wouldn't because at the time I was wanting to have some money to be able to get my feet on the ground with life.
Yeah,
just
that's
start.
understandable.
But I never thought it would get so hard because I moved out, paying rent, paying car insurance, paying electric, Wi-Fi, water. Like, money is fun when you're not moved out.
Right, that makes sense.
Everything is fun when you're at your parents' house and you have money because then you can buy your own PlayStation 5. And I still need to get me one. I still don't have it. I am upset with my life.
Well, when you have Josh on here, you can talk to him about his.
I'll have him in. I'll have your brother in. I think that'll be a good one. And I'll probably actually like clean up my apartment and have you all over.
Yeah, he gets the porch. I don't. I see.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I
can have you on again. I plan to at least have more than one episode with you and my other friends and everything.
I would have fun.
And even like.
I have way more movie thoughts to share. So.
Oh, for sure. We barely scratched the surface with this one.
Oh yeah, we've been all over the place. That's good. That's how the human brain works.
It is, yeah. But I mean, we got about 15 minutes here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start wrapping it up. Do the Southern goodbye, where it's like goodbye, but you still have a conversation and it lasts forever.
Right.
That's what my girlfriend does. And I don't
goodbye, but hey, wait,
I do like
to tell you.
I love it. I have to love her, so I have to love her in all her qualities, and I do. So
there you go.
It's just that one's a little too much.
She's gonna listen to this one.
She doesn't listen to any of them. I don't think. So yeah, is there anything you want to plug? Anything on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, or anything?
What does that mean?
Just like shout yourself out.
Shout myself out?
Shout out to Emily.
No, not really.
Shout out to your Instagram, your meme Instagram page. Anything?
I don't think anyone wants to see that.
Follow her in real life.
That's just my random thoughts. But no, I don't guess so. Just
shout out to Nexus.
Shout out to Nexus. Yeah.
Shout out to Nexus, because I literally did not ask anyone to do this, and I just sat down, put the microphone down, and started recording. They could have kicked me out any minute, and they're about to in about almost 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nexus. I love it here. Really nice. Get you some coffee. It's in downtown Little Rock, across from Gus's.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll play cool movies.
Yeah.
Like Santa Claus.
Exactly. Tim Allen.
Tim Allen is the best.
For real.
But yeah, any final thoughts, words?
I don't guess so.
All right.
It's just been a lot of fun
It is.
to talk about it. I'm glad that we finally got to do that.
Sure. Well, I'll definitely have you on again at some
Yay.
point. I'll just have to find a time, and then I'll also have your brother on as well. Talk about some games.
He'll enjoy that, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the
Thank
end
you.
of. You're just gonna cut me off, though? No, I'm just kidding.
What?
You
That's
just
the
cut
end
me
of-
off.
I didn't mean to cut you
You're
off,
good.
bro.
You're good. I'm just messing with you. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.